Hello everybody, it's Slushy and welcome to another video, and today we'll be doing a ranking of all the FNAF games. So this is a video that I've been wanting to make for a long time. And I'm going to be straight up front with you. The only reason I'm doing this video right now is because I don't feel like recording a gaming video, and I don't feel like putting on my VR headset to do a VR video. I feel like just kind of sitting here doing one of these. And so maybe it's lazy on my part, but at the same time, this isn't an oversight. I've been thinking about doing this video for a long time, so it's not something I'm just deciding to do because I'm lazy as hell. It's partially. Like, I'm not trying to say it's not. Partially that. It's also the fact that I just have been wanting to make this video for a long time. And for some reason, I felt like it was compelling for me to have a Capri Sun while I do this video, because I remember playing FNAF and drinking Capri Sun pouches, and here I am, 25 years old, with the box of Capri Suns. And I'm still playing FNAF and making FNAF videos and buying FNAF shit and plushies and books and all kinds of other shit. So I figured out, what the hell, Capri Sun time. Pacific Cooler, totally nostalgic. Okay, so we're gonna get on with this. I want to say this off the bat. So there's only one of the games in here that I don't think is very good. The others I think are good, just not as good as certain games in the series. So I just want to make that a very clear point. And the only game that I think is bad or average at best is the 15th game that I'm going to start off with. I'm going to start off from the bottom just so it creates anticipation for what's my number one. People could just skip to the front of the video, which would be really messed up. Like, I can understand why people would want to do that, but at the same time, like, sit through it. You might enjoy it. You might enjoy the anticipation. I always enjoy the anticipation of trying to guess what the person's number one's going to be, because sometimes you might be surprised. You never know. So anyways, 15, FNAF AR, Special Delivery. The reason why I don't like it, for one, I've never been able to play it, so that's problem number one. Problem number two, I think it's a really dumb game. It's got an interesting idea, fun idea even, but the delivery on it, ironic because it's called Special Delivery, it wasn't a very special delivery. In fact, the delivery didn't last very long, and the delivery is gone. The delivery service is over. The game doesn't exist anymore. It's like a ghost. It was here, now it's gone. Oh, where'd it go? I don't really care, because watching Markiplier's videos and a couple other people's videos, it really wasn't worth your time. So the only cool thing about it was the cosmetic changes, like for all the different characters, but even then, it's like, that's really all it had to offer. It didn't really have anything else to offer, and that's fine. You know, it was just a goofy little mobile game, and if that's all the intention was, then that's good, but it's just not scary, it's not interesting, it's not fun. It's just like a little child's game, which I realized FNAF was originally built as like a child teen horror game, but at least the other FNAF games have scares in it where you're like, oh my god, that's terrifying. Whereas in this game, it happens. You're just like, okay, whatever. Like, I barely see anybody that actually gets scared, except for Markiplier, who always tries to play up the scares and stuff. But anyways, here comes the controversial one. Number 14, Ultimate Custom Night. I hesitate to say this because, you know, people love this game, and I understand why people love it. It's a very interesting game. It's a very fun, thrilling game. It's just not scary for me. Same reason why I don't think AR is a very good game. I think that Ultimate Custom Night is held back by using repetitive jump scare sound effects. Like, the motions are different. Like, some of the same jump scares we've seen from previous games are altered. Like, Chica doesn't move like she did in the original game. She has a very, like, wobbly jump scare sound, like, motion now, which adds to it. But if they would have had a different jump scare sound effect, I think it would have been a lot more interesting. Like, I know, obviously, why he used the same jump scares for all the same characters we've already witnessed in all those previous games. But I feel like if that game had different jump scare sound effects, I would have this way higher on my list. It's just, that really holds it back for me. Like, I don't get scared playing Ultimate Custom Night. And for me, in a horror franchise, that has to factor into your ranking, and for me, that's why it's near the bottom. But I don't think it's bad. I just think that holds it back to the level that it is. Whereas the other games ahead of it, I at least had moments where I was scared at some point, at least once or twice. Like, I put an hour and 50 or so minutes into Ultimate Custom Night, and I've gotten scared a bunch of times because I suck ass at it, and I just don't get scared. I don't get scared at all, and that's unfortunate. Number 13, hate to do it, Security Breach. FNAF Security Breach. I was so stoked when this game came out. So excited when this game came out. And man, I think everybody can agree with me on this, where we all felt like this crushing blow when that game initially came out. It was a bugged mess. Like, I'm talking, like, bugged up like a sewer in New York City or something, because it was terrible. Like, there was constant glitches, constant loading problems, constant saving problems, graphical issues, I can't even just like Markiplier, one of the biggest FNAF YouTubers in the world, Markiplier. I shouldn't call him the biggest because Dawko's obviously the biggest, but as far as like popularity goes, when it comes to subscribers, Markiplier's the biggest person who's made FNAF videos, and he encountered several game-breaking glitches, and that's bad. That's a bad look, like a hugely bad look. And that just basically sets the tone for everybody else. Like everybody else experienced the same stuff, maybe even worse. Like the game was basically unplayable for me. I had to quit playing it for months until they put out a big update and they fixed everything. Steel Wool made it right. They went back over time and they fixed every little damn thing that was wrong with it. They made it playable, they made it enjoyable, and I wound up really starting to enjoy the game post updates. Once they figured it all out and worked out the kinks, it turned into a very good game. So that's why I'm not going to call it bad. And a couple of the jump scares really got me, especially because some of them you really don't see coming because it's basically a free roam game. It is a free roam game, so half the time you're turning a corner, there might be someone standing right there, and you don't really know about it. Because I'm not somebody who played the game looking at the camera system. I kind of winged it. I really did. I mean, I barely looked at the camera system. I just walked around hoping for the best, which led to some interesting chase sequences. It's pretty damn creepy moments. So that's where I put Security Breach. It's not a bad game. Definitely not anymore. I think at worst right now, I guess you can call it okay. But when it released, it was definitely terrible. It definitely would have hit number 15 for me, even below AR, just because at least you could see, at least AR wasn't like a total buggy mess. I mean, it was bad just because it wasn't scary, but it wasn't a total buggy mess, whereas it was literally unplayable. You couldn't play it. Next up at number 12, FNAF World. Why do I put FNAF World so low even though I really enjoy playing that game? Well, like I feel like it's wrong to critique a game for the same degree as the previous games I mentioned, which is not being scary or having something that didn't scare me at all, but that's not what I critique this game on at all. I didn't go into it expecting it to scare me. It's just there's long loading times, and that's unfortunate because it makes the game kind of unenjoyable whenever you have to sit there for long times. I do wish the story was a little bit more, I'm not going to say like in your face, but I really do wish there was more of a plot line to it. Like a lot of RPG games, I don't expect them to like hit you with tons of narrative right off the bat, but a lot of good RPGs do hit you with narrative occasionally to let you know what's going on. And it's not boss fight after boss fight after boss fight after boss fight. It's like there's a space in between where you get to explore the world. In this game, you don't really get to do that. You basically fight, lore, fight, lore. It's like, I don't know. That really holds it back for me. It's like it's just a pure chaotic game all the way through, no matter which way you go with it. And I haven't even finished the game, obviously. I have a long way to go, I'm sure, before I get anywhere with it, but that's where I put it this far down my list. But it's still a very enjoyable game. And if you like Five Nights at Freddy's, I hope that you go and play it and give it a chance at least. At least try it once or twice. So coming in at number 11. Number 11? Yeah, number 11. FNAF Help Wanted, the very first VR game that we got. Why is it so low? There's really no reason, honestly, other than the fact that at this point, everything above it, I think, is really good. So I just want to get that out of the way. Like, everything from this point on just gets better and better and better. Help Wanted was a really solid game, and I love it. Like, whether you're playing in VR, or you're playing on PC with no VR, or console with no VR, I have every version of the game. I have it on VR, have it on my computer, have it on my PS5/PS4. So it's totally worth it on all methods. Like I've played it on all methods. There might even be a mobile release for it. I think there's a mobile release for it or something like that. I don't know. I would never play it like that. I would just play it on the methods I told you guys about. But it's a very creepy game. There's so many good scares in that because you're in VR. It's like people don't understand how scary VR is. You're not just typing away on a keyboard, looking into a screen. No, you are the screen. You're there. You're in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. And that's terrifying as hell because you can't really brace yourself for the scares because you're there. It's like you're working a night shift at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, and that's fucking terrifying, man. It really is. Like if you imagine you playing the games, like playing that original FNAF game, and instead of you sitting all the way back in your computer chair watching a screen as you move a mouse, no, you're in there. Your eyes is the movement. Like when you turn your head in that game and you press the thing with your You press the lights to turn them on. That's you. You're doing that, and that's what makes that game so terrifying. And I don't know how else to explain it better than that, but it's a fantastic game. Like it's one of the best VR horror games, and all the FNAF VR games, by the way, fall into that. Which there's only two of them so far, but they both fall into that same category. So the next game I want to talk about, number 10, Into the Pit. So this game released, I guess it was last year, and it's based off of the Fazbear Frights novels. Basically, books about, basically like anthology stories about different occurrences at a bunch of different things. Like there's Fetch, there's Bunny Call, there's obviously Into the Pit. There's a bunch of different cool anthology stories within the series, and I think it's a really awesome story, Into the Pit itself. I mean, I think all of them are pretty good for the most part, but Into the Pit translated very well into a game, and the whole graphic style of it, that retro, like 90s style of game is just awesome. I love it. And I'm not somebody who usually necessarily appreciates really old styled games like that, but that game was really fun. And it's not just because it was a Five Nights at Freddy's game, it was because it actually had moments of terror that were actually scary, that actually made me jump, by the way. The fact that they implemented 3D jump scares into what is essentially a 2D game is just remarkable. The story that they put into it, like the story of Jeff's Pizza and Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, the way they tied it all in and put it into a game, I don't know. I'm just mind blown by that game. What Mega Cat Studios did on that game should be like heralded by the community. Like that is something special. It really is something special. And Scott said that he hopes that they work on Fetch, and I really do hope that they work on all of them. Honestly, like just the work on all the Fazbear Fright stories. Maybe eventually just do something else too involving the universe. I have no idea, but their style really, really works for that game. Okay, time for a drink break. Get out your Capri Suns. I think he wants some. Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anyways, now we're on to number 9. Security Breach Ruin. So, people consider this a DLC. So, I don't know what exactly you'd classify it, whether you classify it its own full game or call it a DLC, but the fact that it is relatively long, or at least for me it was long, maybe it's because I screwed up so many damn times, I'm going to consider it its own game. I'm going to call Security Breach Ruin, even though it is a download, like an extra DLC thing for the regular Security Breach game, I'm going to call it its own game because it was way more expansive, way more interesting, way more scary, way more deep than Security Breach was, even post updates. And it was just well crafted. The story it told was amazing. The setup that it provided for the Mimic was amazing. The look of the Ruin characters was creepy as hell. I mean, like legitimately creepy, like nightmare fuel type. It made characters that you hated, suddenly you like them, like Roxy. Like in the first game, you really don't like Roxy. She's kind of a narcissistic, that word. And in this game, you're like, oh my god, maybe I was wrong about this character. Maybe I was wrong about Roxy. Maybe I was wrong about Monty. And character development is always awesome to see. It's always awesome, even if it is an animatronic. It's awesome to see a character evolve over time. And I don't know, I really love Ruin. Like I had a lot of fun with it. Some of the VR segments or AR segments were kind of annoying at times, but I understood what they were doing with the game, and I really appreciate that. And I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I love Security Breach Ruin, and I don't know where they're going to continue off after Security Breach Ruin because the place is literally in shambles. The only way you can continue is by either going back to the past or there's a new location or something else. I have no idea what they would do with it. I'm very interested in what they're going to do with it, but I don't see how you can do anything after Security Breach Ruin other than either take it in a totally different direction with new characters and just call that the end, or bring a prequel around and explain some more things, like which I kind of feel like they did with Secret of the Mimic, honestly. So maybe their next game, Scott did say in that Dawko interview last year that they had something in the pipe. He couldn't talk about it, but there was something beyond what they were releasing that week, which was previews for Secret of the Mimic. which tells me that they're working on something else simultaneously as they were whenever they're making Secret of the Mimic, which is likely something to follow up Ruin. Now, I don't know what it is, or if it's just something totally different, like a Fredbear's Family Diner game, which would be very interesting. I don't know. I feel like I agree with Dawko. It'd be really cool to see that, but at the same time, when you really think about it, what kind of story can you tell that hasn't been told already? Like, there's really nothing interesting about Fredbear's Family Diner besides the bite. And you're like, if you make a game after the bite, nothing's really going to happen. Nobody really got possessed all right away. Like, there would be nothing really interesting about it other than the fact that you get to see everything before everything went down, and then maybe you see stuff after it went down. I don't know. I think people really just want to see it because it's never really been shown in 3D. You know, we've seen it in mini games, we've never seen it in a game, and I understand that because I've always been kind of interested in seeing what Scott's interpretation of that would look like in an actual horror game. But I think that's a long shot. I really don't think we're ever to get something like that unless it's like a cutscene flashback or something. But anyways, that's my thoughts on Ruin. I kind of went way off the rails as per usual. But the next game we're gonna talk about is my number 8, Help Wanted 2. I freaking love this game. Like, if I enjoyed Help Wanted, I way more enjoy Help Wanted 2. If that doesn't tell you by just the placement of it, even just the cooking mini games that you get in that game put this game so much higher than Help Wanted because I loved the cooking mini games. It was so much fun for me. I had the utmost joy playing those games, like just cooking random crap for these staff bots and Chica just bulldozing the crap out of them. It was funny. It was scary. It was atmospheric. It was tense. It was creepy. I mean, you hear this constant ticking of this clock, like you think the time's about to be up, but you really have more than it says. And it's just like this thing trying to mess with your head. And it works because you get paranoid and you start freaking out. And it causes you to make errors, which causes jump scares. It was amazing. I just had so much fun with it. I don't know what most people feel, how most people feel about it, but I really enjoyed Help Wanted 2 for sure. Like, it's one of the best, it's definitely the best horror VR game I've played. And most of them, I gotta be honest, most horror VR games suck. It's like they just throw them together in like 5 minutes just to have it or something because most of them are glitched and buggy and the controls don't work properly. That game was complete. I mean, it was a full, complete game. And I've even played it on PS5 and I've even played it on PC. But again, just like with the first Help Wanted, it works perfectly. It plays perfectly. It's really fun both ways. So if you don't have a VR setup, you'll still have fun with it. I even tried it on Steam Deck, I believe, and it even worked on there. So that tells you something. So coming in at my number 7, this is when we're going to kind of get into obviously the original games because I haven't mentioned them yet. So of course you're going to start hearing these. So number 7, FNAF 3. I think it's pretty obvious why it's number 7 and not any higher. The jump scare isn't super terrifying. Like, I'll give people that. People always make fun of the FNAF 3 jump scare, and I can kind of get it. But at the same time, I think people are lying. Like, whenever they say it's not scary at all, you have to be lying. Because when I first played that game, when everybody started playing that game for the first time, everybody jumped when the jump scares happened. Point taken, the jump scare's not nearly as scary as any of the other jump scares in the series, but they were still creepy. I still jump at that game. Like when I have my headset on, noise canceling headset, and I'm listening to that game and I'm zoned in, and all of a sudden I get an audio error and I go to flip it, and blah, he's right there, and he just kind of leans into the camera. Yeah, sure, it's a goofy little jump scare. When you see his face lean in, it's not scary in the way it looks, but the sound that accompanies it is scary, and that's really all you need. And there's so much setup for the jump scare in that game that it really hits you. And there's a constant chance of a jump scare with Phantom Foxy, Phantom Freddy, Phantom Chica, Phantom Balloon Boy, Marinette, and Phantom Mangle that it really just sometimes it hits you one after another. I mean, there was times when I'd get jump scared by Balloon Boy, Chica, Foxy, and Freddy all at once. And then you look over to your left to fix your panel, and then Springtrap's just leaning into the door, staring at you. I'm like, oh god. But I don't know. I had so much fun with that game, and it came out in a time where I was at my peak of interest for FNAF, like 2015. Everybody was everything FNAF, like everything. But it had blown up at that point. Like after FNAF 1, it was already getting big. FNAF 2 really blew it open, and then FNAF 3, the build up to FNAF 3 and the release of FNAF 3 was just massive. Anybody who was around at that time, no way you can disagree with me with the fact that you were not super hyped for that game. And there's no way you can say that you played that game and you didn't jump at least a handful of times. That game got me a handful of times, and I'm not too proud to admit it, and that's why it hits at my number 7. And also the story. I neglected to mention the story. The story for FNAF 3 is so deep, so intertwined, so interesting, so mysterious. And I love that. The mini games are a bitch and a half to get to, obviously, because you got to do a bunch of unnecessary stuff to get a hold of them. But it makes sense because you're not meant to, like, for reasons I'm not going to get into right here and now. Is I believe the bad ending is the canon ending, and that's why the good ending is so hard to achieve because it's not the real ending. It didn't actually happen yet. Um, I think that's why they made it. I think that's why he made it so hard to achieve that versus the bad ending where you literally just beat the game and that's it. Because that's what happened. The good ending is not what happened. It did. I mean, it happened, just not yet. It didn't happen for a while until after that. So it's relevant, but not at the time. And I think that's why he made it so hard to find. I can go all day with FNAF 3. There's so many things to talk about. The location is so cool and creepy and unsettling. The plot line of being in this horror attraction is really creepy, especially at nighttime all by yourself. Knowing the history of this franchise, knowing you're at this place that's basically dedicated to creeping people out, and it involves those very haunted animatronics. And while the animatronics themselves aren't there, there's a bunch of Freddy's memorabilia that is there, and those same characters likely possess the memorabilia as well. So that I'm just gonna leave it at there at FNAF 3. I can make a whole glazing video for FNAF 3, especially because people hate it. It makes me want to love it more. Like when I watch all these FNAF videos and people are like, "Oh my god, it's the worst game in the series," I'm like, "Okay, that just makes me love it more. It makes me feel like I need to support it even more." So I guess this is the glazing episode for FNAF 3. I'll make a separate episode just to piss some people off. So coming in at number 6, FNAF: Secret of the Mimic. I loved this game. Like, and there was times throughout my playthrough of that game I really hated it. Like, I wanted to beat my computer. I wanted to take my computer, climb the Golden Gate Bridge, and throw it off. Like, I was pissed. I was pissed, and maybe throw it off right at the developer, steel wool, just right in his face, and maybe punch Scott in the throat a little bit, a couple times, maybe once or twice, because some parts in that game really pissed me off. But for the most part, the game was really well made, really creepy and unsettling. There was a jump scare around every corner. You never knew which character was going to turn into the mimic, which character was going to pop out at any second. So basically, every time you turn, similar to with security breach, every time you turned a corner, you didn't really know what to expect. Because even more so than security breach, you might see like a line of animatronics down a hallway. Maybe there's 4 on each side. You know one of those is going to pop out, but you don't know which, and you don't know when. There was times where I'd be right next to the animatronic, and it would pop out, and at that point, you really had to just book it or die, and that's so creepy. And I have this thing about in horror games about being chased and not seeing where the person is that's chasing me, and you don't have time to look back with that game. You really don't. You have to go hide in the locker as soon as possible. And it's so freaking creepy, man. The music is creepy, the story is creepy, and again, I made a whole theory on Secret of the Mimic, but I definitely believe that Scott was shoehorning in like ideas from the original quadrilogy, I guess you can call it, basically trying to fill in details about stuff about like FNAF 1 through 4 that people didn't understand at the time. And I think it's one of two possibilities. Either he was just trying to shoehorn in ideas that we missed from FNAF 1 through 4, or the same events are reoccurring. I don't know. I just threw a theory out there in that video, so I don't know what's fact or fiction. Nobody does except for Scott and Steel Bull. I would love to be one of the guys that were involved in the production of that game that know exactly what's going on, because I really want to know so bad. Everybody wants to know what's going on in this franchise so bad. We never will, because the mystery would be gone and nobody would give a crap about FNAF at all. We would just look back on it fondly, like, look at our posters. Oh my god, we have a poster. That's so cool. Remember the time whenever it was just a simple horror game about animatronics that were possessed? I can go on it all day. But, you know, I'm envious of those developers who get to be like at the like the table whenever they're brainstorming stuff, and Scott's like, "Hey, this is what's going on in this game," and they're like, "Oh my god!" And then they have to develop that and put it into a game, and meanwhile, all of us are sitting here like, "Oh my god, what is this? What's going on with this? What does that cut mean on that table? What does that tape mean? Why are the colors of that red, blue, and white or something?" You know, we're just sitting here theorizing about the most random crap, and they're just sitting around like some big round table, probably laughing about all of it. Just to be one of those people would be hilarious, I think. Yeah, Secret of the Mimic's amazing. I tried to get one of the endings, the easy ending, where you basically leave the facility, and I don't know what happens because every time I tried it, my game glitched. So I don't know. So technically, I got two endings, but I only got the official one on camera, which was the parachute ending, and that was a really cool ending. I am not trying for the other ending. Seems like too much of a chore. I don't feel like going for it. So, like, you had to unlock a bunch of stuff, I believe, and I just don't feel like doing that, honestly. I got so burnt out after just zeroing in on one game. Like, I can only stare at, like, a certain thing for a certain amount of time before I start to get really burnt out on it. And playing that game, like, I had to take month-long breaks in between it because I just got so burnt out on it. And that's not to say it's a bad game. It's really not. It's a great game. It's just I don't know. It feels kind of repetitive sometimes when you're playing that consistently for days and days and days. I think there was a period where I did a live stream on it, I did a video, and I did another video, both the videos of which were an hour long, and the live stream was an hour long. That's just a lot. I got burnt out on it fast, so I had to take breaks, but I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. I had a lot of fun. That's why it sits so high at number 6. So coming in at number 5, what most consider the scariest entry in Five Nights at Freddy's, FNAF 4. Why do I have it this low? Because go to hell, FNAF 4. I can't stand you. No, it's not. It's not that. The jump scares are absolutely terrifying. There's nothing you can take away from that. Scariest jump scares in the franchise, bar none. I mean, there's no other. I don't think I'll go as far as to say this. I've never had a scarier jump scare in my entire life. The process of leaning into the darkness, basically guesstimating if something's there or not, because sometimes you don't really hear that breathing until it's too late, at which point you've already flashed your light and all of a sudden Bonnie's there, to bite your face. The bite of 83, the bite of 80s. Was that the bite of 87? Whatever. The story of that game is freaking amazing. It's obviously super cryptic, and a lot of people still don't understand what it was trying to say. I feel like it's fairly simple, but even if someone asked me to tell the concrete story of what happened at FNAF 4, obviously I can't. The only person who can, again, is Scott. And maybe people who were around him at the time, like his kids. Maybe his kids know. Maybe his wife knows. I would assume that she would know, probably. I'm sure at some point he's told her, "Hey, this is what's going on." I don't know why he would keep it a secret from his wife. Like his wife's gonna go on Reddit and say, "Hey guys, this is what's going on. Scott told me last night before bed." That'd be freaking. I'm not even gonna go there. Whatever. Oh, but anyways, FNAF 4 is so good, man. It's so creepy. And it again, same with FNAF 3. It came at a time whenever there was like this huge blossoming thing with FNAF. Like I remember Markiplier's reaction after FNAF 3. It's all over, everybody. It's it. This is the last Five Nights at Freddy's game. And then like a few months later or whatever it was, FNAF 4 drops and then everybody has to like look puzzled like, "What the hell? I thought that game was the last one." I mean, it's like classic. Anytime you label something the final chapter, there's never a final chapter. That's just like the first of the final chapters. So there will be another final chapter. Hell, on Friday the 13th, there's 2 final chapters, and even the 2 final chapters weren't the final chapters. There's still more after both of those final chapters. So that doesn't matter. And Scott said FNAF 3 was originally supposed to be the final one, and then FNAF 4 was literally called Final Chapter in its production. It changed, but that was the original subtitle. And of course, it didn't wind up being the final chapter. I don't think anybody expected it to actually be the final chapter. Like something as big as FNAF is always going to go on. Like they're always going to find a way to keep it going. Period. It's going to exist forever. It's already got a movie. It's got books. It's got so many games. It's going to exist forever. Like I know that might piss people off that don't like the franchise, but just face the facts. It's never going away. There are always going to be merchandise. Maybe it'll drop in popularity, sure. But it's always going to be out there. There's always going to be games and merch for it. So just get used to it because it's going to be around forever. And this game came out at a time when that was really in its peak. Like FNAF 4 came out in 2015 whenever everyone was still going nuts for FNAF. I think it was pretty much after that, like 2016, 2017, when it slowly started to wane. And then by 2018, 2019... people dropped, and I think it's on the rise again, to be honest with you. Because just gauging based off FNAF videos online, it seems like the view count on certain things are just getting increased. I gotta say, my TV is providing interesting lighting for this video. I didn't even bother putting up a light. I just figured it was bright enough in the room, and my TV was providing a light, so I was like, what the hell am I gonna do to set up a lamp for? But anyways, moving on to number 4. FNAF Sister Location. I love this game. Apparently, it's one of the most hated games in the franchise, which I was not aware of until I started deep diving into a bunch of like retrospective type videos. People talking about why they didn't like this game, why they think the game's stupid, it's too comical, too sci-fi, too glossy, too cutesy, whatever, you know. And I can listen to those criticisms and kind of see where people are coming from, but as a massive fan of this game, I really don't get it, man. I don't know how you can play this game and not get spooked, which this game did to me. Every jump scare, literally every jump scare that happened, I jumped. Even the mini game jump scare with Circus Baby and the child, where you walk up to Circus Baby and she puts out the ice cream and then she screams at you. It scared the crap out of me. Like, I'm not too proud to admit it. It scared the crap out of me, as did every other jump scare in that game. So I have to put it high up because it simply terrified the hell out of me. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about it. Not to mention the story. It's it's one long narrative. It's like basically reading a book in game form. Like, it's just constant story. And I love that the game isn't super challenging to the point where an average gamer wouldn't be able to beat it. It feels like really anybody could beat that game. If you're even half decent at as a gamer, you know, like the custom night, obviously it's super difficult as per usual. It's expected to be difficult, but the actual base game, I feel like you could do that pretty easy, maybe with 1 or 2 or 3 deaths, you know, unless you just make a grave mistake. For the most part, the first 3 nights are extremely easy. After that's when it starts to get challenging, especially with night 4. But I enjoy the game. Love the narrative, love the creepy factor, love the ambience, like the background sound you hear. I love the characters. Funtime Freddy's one of my favorite characters ever invented. Blora's song that she sings in the Blora Gallery is freaking terrifying. It's creepy, and I believe it has some sort of symbolism for the Afton family, which would make a lot of sense why Miss Afton's not in the picture, by the way, which a while ago I didn't believe in the Blora theory, but after making one of my videos on one of my FNAF theory videos, I now fully believe in the Blora theory because it really makes sense. It fits. It really does fit like Cinderella's slipper. It fits perfectly. So, like, seriously, think about it. Think about what she says in her songs. Think about a wife who has kids with this man who's an inventor, and he's so focused on his inventing and not his family. Like, put that into perspective and go listen to her songs. Come back here and tell me what you think about that. Because it really, really freaking fits like a glove. Coming in at number 3, Five Nights at Freddy's Escape the Pizzaplex. I'm kidding. Some people do consider these games, by the way. And I'm not going to say it's not a fun thing to do, to read these interactive novels, but I'm not, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to consider this a game. It's a fun book to read and play along with. All the interactive novels are pretty fun. This is probably the worst of all of them, to be honest, but it's not necessarily terrible. It's just mediocre. But I just thought I'd joke around because obviously the real number 3 is the Five Nights at Freddy's Scary Logbook. I can't even take myself seriously, but another thing that people consider a game, and I can understand why, because there's like a lot of stuff in this game, like crosswords and puzzles and stuff like that, that basically turns into a game. It's basically an interactive book. And I believe they call these not an interactive novel, but there's a word for these. Like it says survival logbook, but there's a word for these kinds of books. Activity book. They call these activity books. And so I guess in that way you consider it a game, but for me, I'm just going to consider it a book. But there is severe lore relevance in this book. I don't know about the other interactive novels. I know one of them or 2 of them has some serious lore, but this one has many different things to take away from it. Like the original, basically it answers the year that FNAF 3 takes place, the year that FNAF 1 takes place, the name of the person who possesses Golden Freddy, and the name of the crying child from FNAF 4. That's pretty big. That's pretty damn big. Now, there might even be more that we just haven't discovered yet, or I haven't realized yet, or discovered from watching other videos, but that was just a joke. So anyways, number 3, FNAF 2. This game is I don't even know how to describe it in words without feeling paranoid itself. Just because, like, when I think about FNAF 2, I automatically start hearing that sound whenever the animatronics in the hallway. Like, I can hear it. I can literally just visualize it in my head, and I can start hearing it. And it causes so much tension and anxiety and gives you goosebumps and chills because you know there's something there that's progressing towards you. And sometimes it's not directly in the hallway. It might have already walked out of the hallway and maybe now it's trying to crawl into your vent. Maybe it's in one of the party rooms just staring at the camera like Toy Bonnie does, dumbass bitch. And who knows? Maybe Mangle hanging from the rafters. You don't know. And it's freaking terrifying. That game is absolute chaos, beginning to end. Like, oh my god. And then, of course, Toy Freddy's one of my favorite characters, so I have to include it as one of my top. I love Toy Freddy, the big old chap. I love Toy Freddy. I can't wait to see him in the movie that's coming out December 5th. Go see it in theaters. It's only in theaters, not on Peacock this year. I wasn't paid to say that. I'm just saying it because I'm a huge fan. Go watch it. Give support to the movie. Give support to Scott and the people involved with it. It's going to be awesome. I can guarantee it's going to be freaking amazing. If the first movie was good, this one's going to be a million times better. So, can't wait for that. The game is awesome, terrifying. The lore, of course. Oh, it basically started everything. It introduced us to Purple Guy. It introduced us to who the marionette was. I almost said the parionette. Was that some kind of parrot animatronic? The marionette slash the puppet. And it showed us all these different murders that happen here. So there's the MCI that happened in 1985, and there's what people call the DCI or the KCI in 1987, where Purple Guy William Afton killed some more kids to experience on possession because he didn't think the originals had worked or whatever, or he was just trying to get more victims or something. I have no idea what his whole end game was. I don't know everything about it, but it really started to get people theorizing a lot more than the first game did, because obviously the first game was very obscure and it didn't really try to give you a bunch of details. It just was like, hey, look, here's a little something. Here's a newspaper. Whereas this game is like, here's some mini games. This is what happened. Here's a visual idea of what happened. And it's like, whoa, okay. So, I cherish this game. And similarly to what I said about FNAF 3 and FNAF 4, it was at a time period where my hype personally was like through the goddamn roof. Like, I was really happy with FNAF 1. Like, I was really a huge fan of FNAF 1 when it came out. My friend played it every time I went over to his house, and I was just infatuated with that game. And then I became a huge fan of FNAF itself, and then FNAF fan games. And obviously, even before I was playing it with my friend, I was watching Markiplier's videos, who introduced me to FNAF, and that's also how I really got hooked on Markiplier. I had seen some of his videos before, like the Slender videos, but the FNAF videos is what really got me going, and that's why I'm making videos today. That's why I'm sitting here right now on my floor for 38 minutes recording a video ranking the FNAF games. Because of all those years ago, Markiplier decided to make a FNAF gameplay video, and that's what started it all for me, and I can guarantee that's what started it all for a lot of people. So this game was at the time period when everyone was like building hype and talking about theories and trying to figure out who the Purple Guy was and who is this guy and why is his name Vincent. Yeah, that's what people were calling him at the time. Vincent, the phone guy slash Purple Guy. Phone guy was the Purple Guy. I remember all the damn theories. Not all of them were good. Not all of them were interesting. But they were theories. And that's what theories are. They're meant to like stir up discussions. They sure were interesting. Like, I remember a stupid-ass theory I had, like, why is Bonnie missing his face? And that was a really dumb idea, because obviously it's pretty damn obvious why he's missing his face. They used the original animatronics from 1985 for parts, and that's why he's missing his face. But for some reason at the time, I was a dumbass who was in high school, and I should have had a brain, but I didn't. And for some reason I thought that because this game was coming after FNAF 1, it was a sequel to FNAF 1, even though this game explicitly states that it was it was made, like, basically it happens in 1987. I was a freaking idiot. I don't know how to explain my brain at the time. I was underdeveloped. I was an idiot. I was stupid. I don't know what else you want from me. I was an idiot. I literally still have that video on my channel. And it's just as dumb as it was back then. It's still even dumber now. In fact, I look back at it sometimes and I want to jump off the freaking bridge myself. Forget throwing my computer off. I'll jump off with it. Anyways, that's FNAF 2, my number 3. And coming in my number 2, this is going to stir up some controversy. FNAF 1. No, I'm kidding. It's FNAF Pizzeria Simulator. Obviously, FNAF 1's got to be number one. I feel like anybody who clicked on this video knew what number one was going to be. But Pizzeria Simulator is my number two because, I mean, for one, it goes on there just for the Henry speech alone. Like, Henry's speech already puts it into the stratosphere. And it almost, I was almost going to say it was a dead tie with FNAF 1 just because of that speech. That speech gives me goosebumps, gives me chills, makes me feel all the feelings that I felt in 2014, 2015, 2016 combined in one moment. And it feels like everything ended. And I was going to talk about this in Ultimate Custom Night, but I really wanted to save it until I talked about Pizzeria Simulator. I really wish that Scott would have just attached Ultimate Custom Night to this game and would have just left it as one big game, like Pizzeria Simulator, Ultimate Custom Night, one thing. Because I don't know. I really just wish it was like that, because then I wouldn't have nothing negative to say about Ultimate Custom Night. It clearly is obviously its own thing. Like, Ultimate Custom Night has its own story. It's basically William's Purgatory, the after effects of the Pizzeria Simulator, where the pizzeria gets burned down. Everything ends except for two storylines: Golden Freddy and William, because Golden Freddy's holding William's spirit hostage essentially in the spirit realm, and he can't move on to heaven or hell. Hell, obviously. And the vengeful spirit, Cassidy, Golden Freddy, is holding him there hostage. And it is a really compelling story arc, and I really do like that part of it, but I really think it would have been totally fine if you just would have kept it as part of one game as big DLC. But again, I understand why he did it separately, because it is its own separate thing, and he did put a lot of stuff into that game. So I do understand it. It's just, I feel like it would have been totally fine, like, put together with Pizzeria Simulator. But the whole Pizzeria Simulator aspect of the game, where you're actually managing a pizzeria, is really fun. I feel like it's like him trying to get a kind of a redo at FNAF World, basically trying to make a game that's kind of like silly and cheerful without being too, like, I don't know, bonkers like FNAF World, where he tried to make a whole different, I don't know, he made it very convoluted by putting out FNAF World, making it canon, because I feel like it kind of makes people's heads race too much. But hey, that's what Scott does. He loves making us feel like a bunch of mental patients for some reason. I mean, we buy his merch, we buy his games, we buy everything that he puts out, and he's like, hey, I know exactly how to thank you for being a fan. I'm going to make you feel like a mental patient and make you go live in a rubber room for the rest of your life, because you can't figure out what the hell FNAF World is all about, and you can't figure out what the hell is in that damn box. It's like, thanks, Scott. Thanks so much for caring about your fan base. I'm totally kidding, by the way. I know he does care. And he just wants to keep it mysterious. And I've said a million times, I wouldn't want it any other way. Like, sure, I would like some things answered internally just so I can sleep better, and I wouldn't be thinking about these things all the time, because, like, no matter what I feel is right in my head, I'll never know what he believes or what he thinks happened. Until one day, maybe eventually sometime 30 years from now, when Scott's an old man on his deathbed, he'll drop everything. Hey, this is what's on the box. Then he croaks over and dies. Which is a really dark thing. Can't believe I went there, but yeah, I really love this game. That, like I said, the pizzeria aspect, and then the obviously night part is so creepy. The two vents, basically no way to actually physically stop the animatronics from getting to you. Like, you basically just have to operate based on audio, same as in FNAF 4, which is what makes this game so terrifying, because you have the fans going, you have the computer, you got the ads that play if you accept ads. And I think they play even if you don't accept them. Like, no matter what, some sort of audio disturbance is going to happen. And so you have to listen carefully on the left and the right side to hear what's coming. And then you have to look at the audio monitor to see where the characters are and basically set audio alerts. I don't know. That game is so terrifying. And it's because, similarly to FNAF 4, he used the audio aspect. And that's what makes that game so scary. And that's what makes this game so terrifying. Because you're basically getting attacked from all sides. And then, of course, the salvaging part is so freaking creepy. You're sitting there in front of an animatronic, and it looks lifeless, but yet every time you look away, it moves just a little bit, just to make you realize, holy crap, this thing is alive, it's moving. And you really can't do too much about it, because if you mess with it too much and you shock it too many times, you'll lose it, which means you can't get the good ending of the game, which really blows. Because the good ending of the game is what you play the game for. But I love the game. I can't glaze it enough. Like if you thought I was glazing FNAF 3, believe me, if I can go on a whole tangent, 40-minute tangent just about Pizzeria Simulator alone. I love the game. I love the story that it presents. I love Candy Cadet, despite how goofy he talks. I love everything about it. I love every single detail. There's not a single thing I could pull from this game that I didn't like. I enjoyed everything. So that's it for Pizzeria Simulator. I'm done glazing it, I promise. I'm moving on to the next game that I'm going to totally glaze, and I think it's going to be more approved by the audience. Coming in at number one, FNAF 1. Obviously, it had to be the number one. If it's not number one in your ranking, you're not a true FNAF fan. You know nothing. If this is not your number one, if it's not the pinnacle of your FNAF ranking, you know nothing. See yourself out. Go out the door right now. You don't belong here because this is it. This is the legend. This started everything. Without this game, we wouldn't be here. Without this game, none of the other games would have existed. This game, on even being such a simple little indie horror game released by one man who did everything himself, who made this game out of desperation of just trying to make a successful game that helps provide for his family. He built this game with absolute passion, and he put that love and desire for success into that game, and you can feel it with every night that you play, with every jump scare you get. You feel the love, you feel the passion that Scott put into this game. And the story itself, like at the time, all we knew about this game was a killer killed 5 kids, stuffed them into suits, and that was it. That's all we knew. We knew that he got arrested. We knew all that stuff. We heard about the bite of 87, but for the most part, all we knew about was this bite. We knew about the murder of the 5 kids, and we knew that they were stuffed in those animatronics, and that's all we needed. And that's what makes that game so magical. It wasn't trying to be overcomplicated. It wasn't trying to beat you over the head with a bunch of secret lore. It was literally just giving it to you like it is. Killer or kids who were killed, they're in these animatronics. They're coming to get you because they think you're the killer. That's it. And that's what makes this game so magical. Like in most games, whenever you make something simple, it's never really done good because it's so simple that to the point where you're like, oh my god, it seems so bare bones. It feels like they didn't try at all. Whereas with this game, you could tell he tried. He put a lot of effort into it, put a lot of time into it, put a lot of thought process into it, including the animatronics and stuff. And he made it with love. And I love this game. It's the reason for everything for me. I will be eternally grateful for this game. And it's why I love the franchise as much as I did. I connected to this game instantly. When I first had an experience with this game, I became infatuated with it immediately. It was like a hook. It's like I'm a fish in the water, and FNAF 1 was a hook with the most juiciest bait on it ever. I don't even know how to explain it any better than that. I can glaze this game forever. All I can say to end this video is thank you so much, Scott, for making this game and making this franchise and for keeping it going, because this franchise means so much to so many people. It's not just a video game to a lot of people, which of course, yes, it is a video game, and to some people, yeah, maybe it is just a video game, but for me, it's the reason for so many different things. Like I said, my YouTube channel, my love for Markiplier. Like I loved Markiplier before. Like I liked his videos before. I'm not gonna say love. I didn't love his videos before. I liked his videos. I watched several of his videos before. Amnesia, Dark Descent videos, his unboxing videos, his Slenderman videos and such. I loved those videos. I thought they were cool, but I didn't really love him at the time. I thought he was a good YouTuber, but he wasn't even my favorite YouTuber at the time. I don't know who it was at the time. It definitely wasn't him. But once FNAF came out and I really saw his personality, I became infatuated with him, with Markiplier, with with FNAF. That makes me just sound like some kind of crazy fanboy. Jesus Christ. I've looked on too many Reddits. With FNAF and with YouTubing. And that's why I'm here today. So again, thank you so much, Scott. Thank you, Markiplier. So that's another thing I have to say is thank you, Mark, because without you making your videos, I wouldn't have got the idea to make my own. So anyways, that's it for this FNAF ranking. Let me know how you rank these games down below. Do you include the security logbook and the VIP? Not the VIP. VIP is one of the interactive novels, but the week before the VIP, the Return to the Pit and Into the Pit novels, security logbook, Freddy files and such. I just personally excluded them just because I mean, you don't sit down with a mouse and play these. Basically what I'm saying is I'm only counting actual games that you can physically play with a mouse and a screen. You don't play that with this. So that's why I'm excluding them. And even if I was to include them, I would quite literally just, I would have to put them at the very bottom of my list. So in case you're wondering, if you are one of those sticklers who wants to include these, just know that without even ranking any of them, just put them back to back to back to back, and then just put FNAF AR under all of those. So however you want to put them, you can rearrange them however you want if that's how you want to do it. Any of the books that you want to include as games, just put them somewhere above FNAF AR, and that's where they fit, right there, because they're not scary, they're just interesting, and that's why I put them there. And they provide lore and stuff, so that's why they. I guess you can include them. I don't know why people seek to include them so much, but anyways, that's my video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I love how I said I didn't want to sit at a computer desk and play a game for 13 minutes or whatever, and here I am recording a video for 51 minutes, which is honestly going to be longer than freaking editing a gaming video. Ugh, I torture myself. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. Hit like if you did. Let me know your rankings down below. And are you excited for the future of FNAF? And cheers to your Capri Sun that you definitely totally have in your hands right now. It's warm. Probably should have drank it when it was still cold. These things are good, but they're not incredibly great whenever they're lukewarm. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.